Holy, where's the Batman? Batman. Tiki here, and I have been watching through Batman, the animated series, for the first time. And now, hold on to your hats, folks. I'm watching through Justice League, or at least the big Batman-related parts of Justice League. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But now, Batman's become part of a bigger universe, and the mission goes on as we enter the greater DCAU.
And hold on to your Robert Pattinson Batmans as we go into the Justice League two-parter, Twilight. Sparkle, sparkle, Dragon.
Yes, just great, charming.
Fuck yeah, sparkle, sparkle.
All right,
I'm done. Okay, Dragon. So yeah, Twilight on the animated Batcave, and Dragon, my reaction to Twilight. Not just Twilight, Dragon. You want to get my reaction to all of the Darkseid stuff, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, so
I
just
went through an odyssey with this. You want to lay out what I've watched, Dragon?
Yeah, so essentially, folks, I've been because we're covering the Batman-centric stuff. I've been kind of catching Tiki up on the interim stuff. Like I've sent him clips of just the basically Batman only shows up for literally like a scene in an episode. We're not going to cover that episode. I'll send Tiki the scene, so he's caught up in between. But in this case. This episode is a very important episode within the Superman Darkseid of it all. So I caught him up on the on basically the Superman Darkseid feud, which essentially is a 3-round thing in the entirety of the DCAU. This episode is round 2. We haven't gotten to round 3 yet.
Ooh.
So I basically caught Tiki up on round 1 and basically why Superman hates Darkseid the way he does in this episode, which takes root in Legacy, which is round 1 of the fight, if you will, of the 3 fights that they have. And the real reason he hates Darkseid was Apocalypse Now, when they kind of properly met each other, in which he killed the wonderful Jack Kirby-inspired Dan Turpin.
Yeah. All right, so just to throw it out there, Dragon, I freaking love this stuff. I really do.
You like the New Gods, do you? Huh?
Here's the thing. I love Superman having a mortal enemy, Dragon. This is so much more engaging than any Superman and Lex Luthor stuff. As good as the Lex Luthor Clancy Brown Lex Luthor is, and he's got some great stuff to do in this episode. We'll get to it. I love his interaction with with Supergirl this episode. Okay, so I'm really loving Darkseid. I really am very compelled by just the sheer hatred that Clark Kent / Superman has for this person. And it is on a level that we have never seen before, Dragon, and it is compelling. Now, the funny thing is that I want to address with this is, Dragon, I assume if it weren't for the ending in particular of this episode, this would be another one where you would just kind of send me the clips, right?
Yeah, well, again, I worked up the contingency of if I wanted to give you the full Kirby cinematic experience, which is why I said, yeah, Tiki, you gotta watch these two.
No, I'm glad I did. Yeah,
because basically, bare minimum, I needed to send you Apocalypse Now. I mean, personally, I wanted to send you that Dan Turpin bit because not a dry eye in the house, but really, I needed to get you caught up on what the deal with Apocalypse is, which is why you need the Apocalypse Now episode. Now, Legacy is again the last time Superman actually fought Darkseid.
So what I'm saying is that I assume that the big thing that Batman does at the end of the episode is like, Dragon, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that's a big dividing point in a character arc, right?
This is the first time in the DC animated universe outside of kind of when they kind of bumped into each other when they first met at World's Finest. It's the first time they've really just kind of gone head to head with each other, and that they really... This is the first time they've really, because the great thing about the DCAU compared to a Snyderverse, say you, is that when Batman and Superman, they have like an ideological disagreement. They have like kind of like what the modern equivalent would be kind of an MCU Civil War debacle, in terms of that, instead of going full injustice. Like they're actually going to have like a dialogue when both of them have very valid points and they're not wrong. So this is the first time they've really just kind of really stuck in each other. Superman's always like, come on, Batman, see it my way. Where this Superman's really ticked off of Batman here.
Okay, so let's see any other things I want to comment about before we move forward here. Oh yeah, I just want to shout out the people in the comments. So we have Atomic Beast, and then we also have that guy. That guy says, "Batman, stop hugging me! You're embarrassing me in front of the villain." God. And then that guy also says, "It's ironic that a show with Batman has Twilight when Mr. Twilight is going to play Batman in a movie. Indeed, the irony is not lost on me, Sparkle."
So I guess to transition perhaps into the context in the background here.
Yes, please do. Please do.
So maybe you're probably wondering why the episode's called Twilight. I'll get to that. I'll start off with that after I shout out who directed and wrote this episode. So,
all right.
So so part one was directed by Dan Reba, good old Dan Reba, and you can tell again the reasons I sent you those episodes as well because they realized how important they were for the whole Darkseid Superman thing. So they got the same crew from those episodes to work on this. So Dan Reba did Apocalypse Now and Legacy Part 2. So now part 2 of this episode was directed by good old Butch Lukic, who did the Injustice for All episode we covered last time.
Yeah, that was really good for sure.
Okay, so the writer on this, so Bruce Timm, obviously, having contributed in terms of the writing on Heart of Ice and Day of the Samurai and just a number of other episodes. We could be here all day with Mad Love, per se, along with Paul Dini. So Bruce Timm did the story on this, and it was him and Rich Fogel. So Rich Fogel, just to give you some Superman credits on him, he did Stolen Memories, which is the great introduction of the Corey Burton Brainiac, who comes back this episode. So you have the introduction of Brainiac, and you have Legacy and Apocalypse Now and Old Wounds, just to give you kind of the little kind of Batman Superman just kind of layout there of kind of the complex relationships and our dark side of it all.
All
right, so studio work on this was Coco. They again had done Legacy, Apocalypse Now.
Remember me.
Coco. Yet oddly, apparently, this was not Coco's A crew that worked on this episode, but they turned in tremendous work, though. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay, let's see. Anyway, so the episode, technically this episode goes by 2 names. So apparently I'm going to assume the full name of the episode is Twilight of the Gods, but for broadcasting they had to trim it down to just Twilight.
That's really a shame just in terms of like if it weren't for the obvious elephant in the room, it'd be a cool name, but yeah, alas, the elephant in the room just had to come along and ruin that particular word forever, right?
Yeah, and again, this did predate it, so they didn't really say, what's the harm in it? But of course,
It's like Stephanie Meyer is like, hey, look at this Justice League episode. It's a really cool name. I am going to steal this name.
All right, so let me give you a little. So this was their season premiere for season 2, by the way. So this is them starting off season 2. We just jumped from season 1 to season 2, if you noticed there.
I did notice that, yes.
Okay,
so I assume that Batman is not very prominent in season 1.
Again, I sent you all the intermediate. Like Batman has like 1 scene in the episode, kind of clippage. So yeah, he has like 1 to 2 scenes in an episode, pretty much through all of season 1 of Justice League.
Okay, is it safe to say that I know it's an ensemble, obviously, but is it safe to say that that Soups is like the main character of season 1?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Superman was less the focus. It was more like
it was kind of just like sort of ensemble, like kind of like origin stories for a lot of the players.
Yeah, like origin stories and basically kind of get like, for example, we got to know less Wonder Woman's origin because we saw that play out in Secret Origins, but we got to know like she went back to the island in episodes. Like we dealt with her Amazon heritage, so we did that kind of stuff with her, and
Gotcha.
Basically that. And Green Lantern got a lot of love in the first season as well as her, and we did some. I believe the Brave and the Bold. We did Gorilla Grodd, so we did some Flash stuff. So pretty much we fleshed out everyone, but eerily, not so much Hawkgirl, because maybe season 2 does a lot with Hawkgirl.
I mean, it's funny because even in just like the tertiary stuff that we've seen, I've seen a lot of Hawkgirl stuff. Probably just because of the Green Lantern side of things, right?
Of course, yeah. Because of that, you did see. We did talk about the payoff of the Hawkgirl stuff with the sea. That's why we're not going to cover Starcrossed on the back because I've shown that to him when we did Black History Heroes on Green Lantern. He's seen Starcrossed. Anyway, so let's see. So point being, we're going into season 2. So what they did is, okay, we've done season 1. Bruce Timm and company, and basically kind of the main writers and the producers like James Tucker, Stan Berkowitz, and Rich Fogel. They kind of took the writers. They took basically like a day and like, okay, we're going to look back on what worked and didn't work with the first season of Justice League, and they made 2 major changes. Okay, one of the biggest recurring problems of season 1 that I mentioned to you was we got to toughen up Superman, because every episode we had we had to up the stakes with our villains. So like, oh, it's a threat that the Justice League can take on. So who's the first guy we got to take out? Well, Superman. And the second guy, Martian Manhunter. So now we've just limited to Martian Manhunter going into season 2.
Poor Martian Manhunter.
I know. I feel so bad for him. He's such a great character. We always have to electrify him and do the psychic feedback thing on him every episode. So this led to, okay, so if we're going to start the season off right, we're going to have Superman be a tough guy again. We're going to give 2 big Superman villains from the animated series from the face off against, which was not the norm, by the way. Traditionally, like, these are 2 villains that could have had their own episodes. We're going to give you 2 instead of 1. Just to, go for it. And then 2 was this new philosophy they developed for season 2 of they equated to Mel Brooks from the producers, the ring the bell philosophy that Mel Brooks kind of came up with on the producers. If you're gonna walk up to the bell, you better ring it. And that no holding back. Or basically on the first season of Justice League, you might be able to kind of tell is that there was a little bit of fear in that they're not going nearly as dark as they went every other season.
Sure, yeah.
And that's because
it was obviously like a lot darker than Super Friends, but it was kind of like a transitional sort of tone.
Exactly, and the fear was they didn't want to just do more the new Batman Adventures level of dark. They wanted to, okay, we can't go that dark, or Batman Beyond levels of dark. We should pull it back because it's kind of a brighter show and it's not really a.
Oddly enough, the few episodes of Superman that I remember, I did watch a lot of Superman. That did get dark from what I remember, right?
It definitely had its dark moments for sure. That's the thing. I mean, especially again, season 3, all the Darkseid stuff is what I showed you.
Right, yeah.
For example, but yes. So the thing is, so they initially that was their approach at season 1. So that led to, okay, so we're not going to hold back this season, which led to that's why we have a robot to start off the season. We can beat the crap out of the robot because of the censorship thing. You can kill anything. It's a robot. The Brainiac. It's the fun of having Brainiac as a Superman villain. Superman can cut loose on this guy. So the episode, the roots of the episode, Rich Fogel, he had the ambitious pitch of like a 2 big scale Justice League villains, and Bruce Timm essentially rewrote the episode after that to push the tone and the intensity per that ring the bell, like good enough isn't good enough mantra for the season. Like, no, it's good, but it's not good enough. We got to push it more.
Yeah, and I think they really achieved it because for me, it's like, this is a... it's funny because Darkseid and Brainiac are 2 characters that you hear a lot about, right? But I don't have much experience with either of them. I'd love to get Brainiac specifically as a big screen villain. I think he'd be terrific on a cinematic level.
Oh, he was always the next poised one in so many.
I know. It bothers me
because he's the easiest one to do, and also
it's like they have to do Luthor and Zod, and reboot Luthor again.
So here's the thing, the fun thing of Brainiac is the animated series, I'm pretty sure, I'm like almost like 90% sure that the animated series was the first one to get the idea of like have Brainiac be a Kryptonian creation, which made the whole destruction of Krypton all the more personal. That's why, by the way, this episode, the two villains that Superman hates most, the guy that blew up his planet and the guy that did all the terrible stuff to him at the end of season 3.
Sure.
So again, really personal in terms of the villains as well.
Let's just talk about like through the Batman side of things, though, Dragon. Like I said, like Batman, he has a couple fun bits and pieces to do. He has one fun line that we'll get to.
So that's the thing. I mean, they tried to brighten up this dark episode with some Batman bits, oddly. So they kind of flipped it.
Right. I noticed that. Anyways, I feel like we should just kind of jump in, right?
Well, yeah, just to put the button on it is again this is a big turnaround episode for Justice League. Is my point. This is the big turnaround season for them with this starting it off.
All
right.
Okay. So how do we start off, Dragon?
Okay, so part one. So we have our opening, which a little homage to Star Wars with Steppenwolf. So you didn't take it. This is Steppenwolf. Who's the bad guy from?
Steppenwolf is just in there as like a third fucking villain, you know, and it's crazy.
And again, this is what Steppenwolf is supposed to. Yeah, again, he's a lieutenant of Darkseid's. Nothing really fancy.
I'm getting
there.
kind of like a Ronan the Accuser vibe with Steppenwolf here.
That's about right. He's
Uh
just kind of
huh.
used to. Anyway, so we have Steppenwolf, kind of like kind of these Star Killers, which is a nod to Star Wars, by the way.
Oh, it's absolutely a Star Wars shot for sure.
All right, so he's in a firefight with New Genesis, and as you've learned from
I
that,
love how the credits are literally I'm sorry, the captions are literally just like pew pew pew.
God. All right, so they're in a firefight with New Genesis because Darkseid broke the tree, which the whole gist, as you know, with New Genesis is, they have like a whole like peace tree so they don't destroy each other, and they traded sons. That's the whole backstory.
Yeah. There's some very Dragon Ball like imagery here that we're gonna get to as far as some of the world building goes.
Right. And by the way, just the shorthand I think for the New Gods stuff is New Gods is pretty much Eternals but better. It was the original Eternals, just had more scope.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
ability. So every time I said that when we were talking Eternals, this is all the stuff I was talking about, by the way.
I feel it.
All right, so Orion, who was voiced by the great Ron Perlman,
Yep.
he boom tubes, as basically Darkseid sent Steppenwolf to die, and he has no remorse at all for him here. Orion boom tubes the ship, the now crashing ship with Steppenwolf into it, right into Apocalypse as a screw you to dad. Right in the Darkseid's palace, like boom, and oh god, so just right there, and you have Desaad and Kalibak, and of course the great Rene Aubergenois as Desaad, and who's now passed, and Michael Dorn as Kalibak.
Uh-huh.
He's getting all the familiar faces there. Anyways, the point being, this happens. Highfather issues this final warning of Darkseid, like, hey, don't break the treaty again, or else we'll finish you. And Darkseid, he ain't happy about that. So we're teeing up what Darkseid's thinking about. Hey, I'm going to do something about this.
So I want to just key up the Dragon Ball thing in particular that I was vibing off of was all the Highfather stuff. I don't know why. He has a very Dragon Ball-esque vibe just in the way that he's like a protector of all these people, you know.
Like
I don't
a Kami Piccolo sort of thing.
Yeah, kinda for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure the like the walking stick doesn't hurt that analogy either, but yeah.
No. Yeah, of course. So yeah, it's a great cold open, Dragon. It really just puts into action like Darkseid's like, all right, this is my time.
All right, so Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl, they have a bit of a moment here that basically tease up. And again, this is them using one of the big things with season 2, by the way, is the fact that going forward, every season of Justice League going forward, they have an end game in mind, as in each season on its own now knows how the season's going to end. Which never happened before with any of the other shows, with the exception of, season 3 of Superman was the closest thing they'd had to that up to that point, where we have an ending in mind. But everything else is like, the network's always kind of like, well, you've reached the end of your contract, we don't want you anymore. So, but Justice League was essentially the original Korra problem. We're like, okay, we're gonna throw everything we have at the season finale, and assuming we're not coming back, and then, hey guys, you want to come back? Sure. So we're teeing up.
Of course, most infamously with that was probably Korra, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This was like Korra before that happened.
Yeah.
So Hawkgirl here, we have a moment addressing her homesickness, and again, this is teeing up the whole like, hey, she's lying about her origin story. little kind of setup there at the top of the season.
But I like that Martian Manhunter takes it at face value, and it is kind of a moment of bonding for them.
Which again, the whole reason the Manhunter's on the Justice League is that he bonded with Superman over being the last of your kind.
He bonds with pretty much everyone, right? It seems like he's pretty much like the Data of the crew. If that makes
he
sense.
is the guy who made him a team in the first place. So I love that with the Martian Manhunter. That's always one of the great things with this. All right, so that's going on. Meanwhile, we have a conversation with Desaad, where Desaad, oh boy, he basically we reestablished Darkseid's in pursuit of the anti-life equation, which is his whole deal. It's kind of his version of world domination, basically world hopelessness. Get the anti-life equation, everyone becomes sad.
Mm-hmm.
Desaad mistakenly questions this fool's errand, which leads to the Omega Beam death, which he could be dead or he could be teleported. We've seen this both ways in Superman.
And Dragon, I gotta say, there's honestly quite a few like on screen or at least implied deaths in this episode. I was like, this episode's got a body count through the 2 parts.
At this point in time, Tiki, we're on Cartoon Network. We're basically we're the Toonami block right now. We're in the big.
Oh, the Toonami block. Oh man,
that's what I'm saying.
I know what that means.
Justice League was on the Toonami block, man. They were playing with the big.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Oh man, all right. So it's like, pedal to the metal with Toonami.
So that's a big thing, especially with.
Oh god, Dragon, we should do a retrospective on Toonami sometime, even if we haven't watched all those shows.
but seriously, again, this is with season 2. Like we're kind of casting off the kiddie shackles. Like now in the DCAU going forward, we can do everything we were told we could do.
Totally.
Ever. So, all right. So classic Kirby here of Darkseid. I just love the Kirby scope of just Darkseid meeting Brainiac and just like, what is that? It's death. Like that's a Michael Ironside delivery.
Dragon, I got to be honest with you. Now that you said the Toonami thing, it puts all the Dragon Ball comparisons into perspective for me, because that's what it is. It's kind of like the larger, it's kind of like the more high scale, like, I can tell that the violence has been cranked up. I can tell that it's darker. So yeah, I'm kind of geeking out about that now with the Toonami thing. It's kind of like that was kind of like the thing that really sealed the deal. Now that you said that. So
how do you feel that Michael Ironside is Darkseid?
Oh, he's fantastic. He gives me a real kind of like Michael Shannon sort of vibe, honestly.
Little bit, yeah.
Just kind of like how he's sort of like soft spoken but still very intimidating at the same time.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So I love that just the whole it's death thing is a perfect, because basically he knows that Brainiac is a death sentence to any planet. So when he shows up, it's death. That's what it is. Like Darkseid would be that forward thinking. He would know. He's so metal. All right. So Darkseid boom. Basically, this leads to Darkseid boom tubing onto the Watchtower. This is a big scene. Oh god, this is such a great scene. So he boom tubes onto the Watchtower to ask for Superman's help. This is such a Kirby scene, man. So instantly, because of the legacy episode from Superman the Animated Series, Superman hates Darkseid. Instant reflexes. I'm gonna punch the crap out of this guy because I hate him so much.
Yeah, I love it. I really love it. It's such a great kind of humanistic reaction from Clark Kent. Dragon, goddamn, it's so frustrating because it's like, this is what we need in live action. This is the way to write Superman. Like, Superman doesn't have to be a Boy Scout. He doesn't have to be just an overly nihilistic asshole. Like, this is the way, man.
This is the balance.
The Mandalorian.
Essentially, this is the balance you. My other shorthand for this episode, just in total, by the way, is everything Zack Snyder wanted from his movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just wanted to get to this part, but he fast forwarded to this part, and he didn't do. He
didn't do the work. He didn't put the work in.
Unfortunately,
Dragon, you needed those other 2 parts to really make this sell. Because. It's like, here's the thing. It's like, not only did Superman has been through hell with this guy, because not only do we have the Apocalypse Now stuff, but we have, the fact that Superman was literally kind of brainwashed and turned into a weapon, which is just like goes against everything he stands for. It's like, this is an insanely personal battle we're dealing with right here.
Exactly. But yeah, remember, he turned.
All right, I'm geeking out at the Superman stuff, Dragon. This is like I don't often get this passionate about Superman, but here we are.
So again, he turned the whole Earth against him, and that's how you legitimize the whole people being afraid of Superman, where it's happened and Superman's dealing with the aftermath. When again, it's not like a thing where there's no turning back, or no, he did go rogue, but it wasn't his fault. But it's public opinion now. He can't unbreak that. Okay, so.
Dragon, Atomic Beast has a comment about Steppenwolf that maybe you might be able to clarify. It seems like a comic question.
Well, R.I.P. Steppenwolf, who was, again, the guy in the ship earlier. And of course, the same Steppenwolf that is in the Justice League movie. But, it's what he looks like traditionally.
Killed by Joss Whedon's Justice League. Right.
Yeah, made a little better in the Snyder cut, but still.
A lot better, I think.
No, you're right. A lot. I'm just saying a lot better, but, essentially, why isn't it Darkseid? That's my question. I'm just like, why couldn't we just have it be Darkseid?
Yeah, I know. Because Steppenwolf, it's like he's such a henchman of a villain, like you said.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anyway, so point being, Superman's fighting Darkseid. Very bad location for a fight because of these guys of monumental strength. Superman's gonna beat him because he hates his OGs. He's beating him so hard that
I really love how this kind of keys up the ultimate ending of the episode too. It's really good full circle storytelling.
Absolutely. So this fight threatens to knock the Watchtower out of orbit. I love how instantly we set the tone for the Batman role. Yes, folks, we're here to talk about Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like we're almost like 10 minutes into the episode without Batman.
But to be fair, this is a Batman Superman centric episode for us, so it's kind of a.
It is.
All right, so Batman. This is again where we begin the whole Batman versus Superman dynamic, where these two guys are going to be a little on edge at times, and this is the big episode to do it, where Batman has been in Superman's position with, really hating the Joker for things, and we're going to see that majorly with a Batman Beyond movie. So I love the idea that Batman, he is now that hasn't happened yet, just in case you're wondering, but no, like that flashback hasn't happened yet. But it's just the fact that he's wise into being emotionally involved with an arch foe, and he gets it. So I love that Batman is in. Unfortunately, old wounds or not, Batman's soft touch approach needs work. So what he says after essentially Darkseid asks for help, and we have this great bit where, Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter have to hold Superman back, and I love Darkseid's smarmy remark here, I see you haven't forgotten me. Anyway, so the long and short of our episode stakes that we establish here, and this is just important for setting the stage, is that Brainiac, the Brainiac of it all, we're essentially, which is a brilliant idea for a crossover, by the way. Brainiac does his thing to Apocalypse, threatening the whole plan, and Darkseid is using Superman's helping, kind of heroic nature against him, just to screw over the guy.
Okay, can I just say I love the look of these tanks with the fucking dragons on them, or whatever the hell they're supposed to be.
The Apocalyptian tanks, yeah, that's them. Yeah,
I mean, it's such a cool design. Like all the technology and all the ships in this episode are honestly really, really on point visually.
Yeah. So again, I think the premise of this episode is just brilliant. Just using Brainiac to destroy Apocalypse, much like
it's great, and it does kind of feel like the sort of cinematic villain crossover that I could see happening. Like you said, Dragon, like you keep saying, this whole episode just feels like what our Justice League movie should have been like. As far as scale, as far as the personal stakes and the villains that they chose.
Absolutely. So Superman, again, so he also hates Brainiac for destroying Krypton, and the response to all this, just like for Apocalypse potentially being annihilated if Superman doesn't help, really shocking moment. Good. And just, I love it, Wonder Woman's like, Superman, no! They're all wigging out, what? Wow, Superman not wanting to help, not wanting to save
They do not know the context.
I'm just saying, Superman not wanting to save people is a huge deal, and it's millions of people, or millions of people are going to perish.
It's almost like they shouldn't have had Superman snap someone's neck in the first movie of their cinematic universe or something.
Well,
right?
If they weren't going somewhere with it, then yes, they shouldn't have done that. If they were going somewhere with it, maybe. But you're right. If they didn't go, they had absolutely no plans, then they should not have done that.
All right.
So Batman, again, I love this. Is a great conflict for Batman and Superman to have. Where Batman's, obviously our guys are all about saving people, which is what I love about him. So Batman calling Superman out on this is a major deal. So it's the roots of the kind of like the DNA of what would later on become an injustice plot line down the line of these two guys having different ideologies, really bumping up against each other. Batman,
yeah, that's what it does. Very much feel kind of the first little, the first seeds of that sort of tension for sure.
Yeah, because again, fundamentally, that story and what kind of we have here is that Batman saves everyone, especially his bad guys. Which again, Superman. Mm-hmm. The question is, if Superman was pushed to the lengths Batman goes on a daily basis, would Superman feel the same way? That's what Injustice is all about. So here we have the Batman settles the debate. I love that Batman shuts down the debate of should we help Darkseid or not. He says, Conroy, what he does in this scene is great. He just plays it so seemingly compassionately, and they just shuts him down. Just. We all know what he did. He used you, humiliated you, brainwashed you, wound you up like a tin soldier, and turned you loose against the earth. Cry me a river. It's on the outside. Oh my God. He just dude, that's everything you need to know about why Batman and Superman are at odds so many times.
Oh yeah, totally.
Cry me a river. Just, again, the fact that Batman he does have sympathy, but he can't entertain what Superman's putting out
tough
there.
Love. It's all about the tough love here.
I think Batman is a little offended by Superman not wanting to save people even for a moment. I think he was really, that's what's bringing on the really tough love approach here. Like, on the outside chance this isn't a game. It's, on the outside chance it isn't, we have to act, so I suggest you get over it. Oh, God. So, anyway, so Martian Manhunter breaks the tie here. Essentially, Martian Manhunter, he speaks to the compassionate Superman here, and do you really want to be responsible for another orphaned race, Superman? It's like, how the heck is Superman going to say no to that? So he agrees, but he wants Batman to seek out a contingency plan. He wants to seek out his old pal Orion on New Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. So then we have this is the fast forward. We have some Wonder Bats stuff going on here as they go to Apocalypse. I'm sorry, they go to New Genesis, I mean. They go to New Genesis.
I'm going to need a bigger grappling hook.
Which is great. Also, Batman, against in terms of the track and the bats of it all, Batman now has a boom tube. So yeah, that's going to pay off in Batman Beyond, by the way. He has a boom tube.
Uh-huh.
All right, so yeah, it's first time dealing with just the fact that Batman's rubbing elbows with new gods this episode. This is pretty big.
It is really cool. Yeah, just this super futuristic city and him flying around with Wonder Woman, and yeah, it is a fun little plot line. And like you said, it is kind of like the comic not necessarily comic, but it's the more lighthearted diversion to all the Superman stuff going on. Which, like you said, ironically enough, it's like we use Batman as the more lighthearted B story, but here we are.
So something I like, just speaking of that, just so I don't forget about it, I love that we reverse a shot, a really important shot, where we have Batman when he's laying out the whole tin soldier speech to him. Batman's getting in Superman's face, and we reverse that shot at the end of the episode, which I really liked. So, by the way, while the Batman stuff's going on here, Brainiac basically has Apocalypse outgunned in the Justice League system. However, sans Green Lantern, which always bothered me, he would be very invaluable in this fight, yet we didn't have him in there because it'd be too easy.
Yeah.
Kind of noticed that on the rewatch. Anyway, so back to Batman. So let's see. So Batman calls out the Sun exchange of the whole mythos of Apocalypse in New Genesis. I just love that Batman's critiquing the Kirby of it all is a fun idea. Like, I don't get this new god stuff. Like, really, they're going to trade suns as like a piece.
Well, it's like it is the type of gaudy shit that Batman wouldn't like, right? Like,
I know exactly
on a visual aesthetic level, it's just not his thing.
I love it. I just love it. It's like he's critiquing the Kirby gospel. I love it. So Batman's eaten by a giant monster on New Genesis, which, by the way, parallels what happened to him in Apocalypse once when they did one of the animated adaptations. He got eaten by a giant monster on Apocalypse. Just keeps getting eaten by giant monsters when he goes to these god worlds. Really anyway, so we have a scuffle fighting the giant monster. They are saved by Forager. Now, Tiki, a little side note about old Forager here. This is kind of the
Please tell me.
Okay, so Forager, there was this comic. It's a great comic, Tiki. I'm sure it had a little bit of influence here, given they've worked with the guy on Mr. Freeze for Batman the Animated Series. Mike Mignola did this comic called Cosmic Odyssey. I think Jim Starlin, the Thanos creator, wrote the comic, and Mike Mignola did the art. Either that or Mignola did all of it. So Mignola, it's basically the Justice League paired up with different new gods to stop Darkseid. That's essentially what the story was. But there was a big moment, my favorite moment in the whole book. Forager is a new god. He doesn't really have powers. He's a forager. He's basically as human as a new god gets. So Batman bonded with him. So Forager sacrificed his life to save the day, and Orion had this really offhanded, basically what he says later about the whole, they're just bugs down there. Orion really hurt Batman's feelings in the comic when he said this. So Batman, what he did is he just punched Orion. His name was Forager because Forager sacrificed himself, and that was a huge. So every time when Forager showed, like, oh my god, it's Forager. It's like Batman's
right. It's kind of just like he's got sort of like this, this air of tragedy over him, if you will.
Yeah, so I like that they didn't adapt that story here, but I like that the core of Forager proved his usefulness and he got redeemed in the eyes of the new gods. So they kind of got the kind of moral of that story there. So just always when Forager shows up, it's kind of like, the lovable new god. There he is. Look at Forager.
Look at him go.
Yeah, so Batman's asking if Forager can point him in the direction of Orion. He says, I'm a bug. The gods are above us. Like, no, you don't sell yourself short. No, they're literally above us. Then we have the money line of the episode, Tiki. I'm going to need a longer grapple.
Yeah. Dragon,
Okay.
what I love about the city is it's basically Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, or what are the Zalem from Alita Battle Angel, or floating cities. Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, so okay, Wonder Woman flies Batman up there. Then they meet. Oh god, so they meet. Let's see. So they meet Light Ray as they're kind of taking in the architecture. They meet Light Ray, who's voiced by Rob Paulson.
Yes, yes, yes. And I don't know why I thought this was Orion.
Well, no. Ryan is no. Ryan's Ron Perlman. That's.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know why I don't know why I got those two confused, but yes, Rob Paulson, very delightful for the brief time that he's here.
So I did a deep dive.
All the Paulson I can get.
I did a deep dive because I completely forgot about this. I knew Paulson had been in Batman the Animated Series, but I forgot what role. You know what role he was?
What role?
He was. He was like the second henchman in I've Got Batman in My Basement.
Oh no! Oh god! Well, at least it's an iconic episode.
Fine. I mean, they gave like a fun, like, people like Light Ray from the New Gods book. So the fact they gave like a name character this time, it just shows like, yeah, we really wasted Rob Paulson. Then he took off with Pinky and the Brain after the animated series.
I know. They really did. Like, Rob Paulson, like, really is not involved in the DC animated universe much at all, from what I can tell.
Yeah, that's the thing. He only has so many characters. I think now they probably remedy that over the years. They've probably given him more roles, but yeah, they don't go to Paulson that often.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they run to Light Ray here, and he basically he calls him Bugs, and he slaps the old Star Spangled Fanny, and like, you don't do that. That's an American institution, buddy. So anyways, of course, he's worse than the Flash. Of course, the Flash was never that chauvinistic, but yes, it's like they give chase. Batman does the sweet cape move to take him down, which basically is kind of I like to think Batman's maybe causing a plan here or just defending some Wonder Woman. I don't know, whatever strikes your fancy. Summons Orion by design or not. Orion intervenes. He's very protective of his new Genesis buddies. So they found Orion, just like Superman wanted. Meanwhile, back in Apocalypse, long and short of it, Brainiac and Superman, give them some tough talk there. Like, if Jor-El couldn't end me, what chance do you have? Of course, Superman, he's pounding through like some energy blast that Brainiac's throwing at him there. But Superman and Darkseid have to tag team it, which again, I'm sure Superman's not happy about, but they have to work together. Brainiac flees. Superman saves Hawkgirl. Darkseid's just being really mean about, like, go after them, you idiots.
Yeah, it's a really great team up, Dragon. It really is. I always love these sort of villain teaming up with the hero type stories.
Just the fact that the Superman hates every second he's on this godforsaken fire pit. All right, so let's see. So, okay, let's see. All right, so the Skull Ship. We see Brainiac's Skull Ship emerge, which looks awesome. Pretty much is like a Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. So I'm sorry. I love that we have Brainiac's ship, which leads to his skull base, which is like an homage to Brainiac's Skull Ship. Like, they've always kind of done a light homage. Like, he's literally in his own skull, which is like our Death Star base, which is awesome.
And that's the end of the first part, right?
Yes, that is the end of part one, which brings
that was a really good visual cliffhanger for sure. All right.
Yes. All right. So part two. So we see the inside of the skull of the skull layer. It's really
I
cool
thought that was really cool how they just transitioned right from the skull to, like, okay, now we're like deep in the bowels of the skull.
Yeah. So let's see. And I like the detail that I'd like to say on the screens inside are like pictures of like the data that Brainiac's collected from the worlds. He basically collects the data, then blows up the planet. And you see like the projections, like images of the planets of the worlds he's destroyed. It's like kind of a really sadistic decoration on the inside. Like, hey, there's the place I destroyed, and there's the other place I destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he re-extends his offer to Superman that he basically extended to him in the Stolen Memories episode from when they first met, which basically Brainiac kind of pulled the Mysterio on him, like, hey, I'm your long lost brother. I knew your father. Let's work together. Superman found out the truth, wasn't too happy about it. So here's like, I re-extend the offer to continue Krypton's legacy, which in Brainiac's eyes, his programming is, well, destroy the planet and everything. Krypton's legacy is death to other planets, which is, really twisted when you think about it. I am Krypton, and then Superman is having a great line to this guy, just like killed his father, killed his whole plan. You dishonor the memory of my father and my people. Like heck no, you can go to. They had to censor that. Toonami or not, they had to censor that.
No. I really like that though. I really like that Superman is so on edge that he is, very much like full on swearing mode. It's like this is no Boy Scout right here,
Oh yeah, they pushed them. I just love that's the thing. You can have your wholesome Superman, but you have those those two people that pushes buttons.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so when we have some cool robot fighty, a lot of Brainiacs, shells, basically other Brainiac.
They fight.
Yeah, it's like cool robot destruction. Manhunter like phases through a guy. You get it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back on New Genesis, Highfather, who basically the great kind of duality of it here is Highfather is like the softer Darkseid. He's like the happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, I totally got that vibe for sure.
Yeah. We have a little gardening lesson with the girls, like showing them how it takes basically everything has a purpose. Let's see. So we loop Highfather in on what's going on, Apocalypse and everything with Darkseid, and Highfather is reticent to attack because of the peace tree, so he's going to have to consult the source, which I assume is he's talking directly to the source wall, which is basically it's kind of like the big guy upstairs for the DCAU. The
oh dear God! Oh, I don't even want to know.
I mean, they never explain what it is. I'm just saying, essentially, the source wall is like the fourth wall. It is like the big, like all the answers are in this giant wall.
Yeah, I don't have time to wrap my head around that concept right now.
The point being, he's consulting some higher power. That's all you need to know. That's it. Okay, that's all we know about it anyway.
That's
okay.
Funny.
Point being, Highfather, basically we need to take Highfather out of the episode. It's like, wait a minute, why isn't he helping? Why is he busy talking stuff? He's talking things. Okay, Darkseid. Darkseid booms into Brainiac's lair. Basically, we have our big double cross reveal, and this is a great reveal that makes a lot of sense. Of course, he's gonna betray Superman. Like, you think, like, for 1 second, Superman wasn't right about Darkseid?
Yeah, I mean, it's like villain playbook 101. If you team up with the heroes, you got to betray them at one point.
Exactly. So, he attacks Superman, Hawkgirl, and Martian Manhunter, and basically we reveal that he bargained with Brainiac to spare Apocalypse in return for delivering him Superman. That was the plan, which again feels very Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
So, it feels very like Fantastic Four Kirby, like Nor and Rad making a bargain with Galactus kind of stuff. Like gods making bargains. I don't know.
All right, back to Columbia, the floating city in the sky.
Well, is it really called Columbia?
In BioShock Infinite, yes.
Huh, I did not know that. All right. Okay, so then we have the Just Bugs moment, which again brings me back to Cosmic Odyssey. Like, he was Forager. Every time I think Cosmic Odyssey, like, his name was Forager. Batman. So you got Tiki. After this, you really should check out that panel just to see how ticked off Batman is.
Oh God,
that panel. Anyway, so Orion prepares his very Kirby-esque mode of transportation, his signature weapon.
I really like this, and it comes in handy, especially in a pivotal scene later on, of course.
So this is called the Astro Harness.
Yeah.
I was hoping there's going to be maybe a little more fanfare. Like, yeah, but okay. The Astro Harness.
I don't know. It's a cool name. I don't know what you want from me.
All right. No. Okay. All right. So basically, Orion's dead set on going after his father alone, and he's very insistent about it. And of course, Batman and Wonder Woman, they have to give chase. And Batman has one of the great lines of the episode as well. Next time I let Superman take charge, just hit me really hard.
Oh, God. And again, Batman is pretty much the comic relief of the episode for the most part until we get to the big climax, at least.
Just really heady. All right. So, okay, let's see. So Brainiac, so we reveal that Brainiac essentially wants to use Superman as a battery. A little Ego the Living Planet-esque plan here.
I did get some Ego vibes. I'm glad you bring that up.
A little bit. But again, way before Ego did it. So. But anyway, so Brainiac needs Superman because he needs like living DNA living Kryptonian DNA to kind of power where his programming comes from and everything. So basically what he wants to do is evolve and expand his operation, operate as a base, and send out all of his, like, so many drones across the universe to collect all the information all at once instead of just one at a time. So Darkseid's ulterior motive and all this, which is brilliant to me, is like, I'm going to hack into Brainiac and basically hijack his plan to serve my own needs. I'm going to let him do his thing, search his database, and having him like go across the universe just in case he doesn't have it already to find the anti-life equation, which of course hacking in the Brainiac not really a good plan because that's going to basically endanger like instead of like searching the planets and everything, it endangers like destroying planets like New Genesis, which is what happens later in the episode.
All right.
Okay, let's see. So Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter, they come to. They're looking for Superman. We have a little hint that, like, hey, we could look for your planet. You want us to find Thanagar while we're in here with all this data from all the universe? No, we don't have time.
She's like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, she's deflecting from that. Like, no, it's not important. Which again, like, star-crossed.
Oh, God.
Just in the back of your head, little star-crossed. Okay. So Superman is just tortured relentlessly as a battery. And
it's pretty brutal, Dragon. It's pretty brutal.
Oh, Tiki, believe me. There's an episode that we're going to be talking about where it gets even worse for him.
Oh, man. I mean, this is honestly like the most brutal I've ever seen a Superman attack, so...
I mean, I tell you, man. I mean, imagine this, but economized into like a bit that's under a minute, but you feel every minute of it.
Oh God! Oh! I can't imagine that. Oh man! God. All right.
Anyway.
Okay, so Highfather is talking to the fucking Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yep, he's talking to the Source Wall, I guess. Basically, some like mini version of the Source Wall. It's essentially
it's so like whatever the fuck. It's so weird.
But again, look seriously. The Source Wall. Again, I'm not going to tell you. You don't need to know anything about it. It's just the Source Wall. Kirby's. Here's the reason we have Eternals, Tiki, is the fact that Kirby laid out a lot of brilliant stuff with the New Gods, but unfortunately, Kirby wrote those stories as well, and Kirby's writing was not necessarily on par. So he threw a lot of heady terms without much of like a human connect. So a lot of it doesn't track, but it's still a little better than what we got with the terms. So at least there was an attempt. Okay. So Superman's being tortured. Basically Darkseid, he wants to tear down random chaos of the universe, tear it down to nothing and rebuild in his own image. That's essentially his goal with the anti-life equation. So New Genesis is coming apart at the seams as Darkseid's attacking. As he's searching, he's kind of tearing the place apart. Again, basically by tampering with Brainiac. Brainiac is forced to defend Darkseid once Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter show up to save Superman. Leads to a more fight with the Brainiac robots.
Fight.
But things get interesting when Orion, Batman, and Wonder Woman enter when they arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they arrive and Batman's throwing a whole bunch of batarangs and this sweet multiple batarang attack shot. Which is
it's funny how like Batman is kind of like the MVP in this fight, all things considered.
Yep, he's saving Hawkgirl when she's down, which is nice. And he has another swarmy line to Martian Manhunter. Having fun? Yes.
I love Martian Manhunter's response to that.
You
know what? I believe he is having fun. That was almost kind of like a Drax the Destroyer kind of like taking things literally sort of moment for me.
He's just a far more mellow version of Drax.
Totally, yeah.
He's very honest, he's very open, not really much for the sarcasm, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. So Batman hits the control panel, which thankfully works. He hits the control panel to free Superman, and then basically the whole place is set to blow.
But boy, in a minute we're gonna kind of wish that Superman wasn't free.
Here we go. Now, folks, we're hitting. So a lot of this is just to get.
This is literally the reason why we're talking about this episode on the Animated Batcave.
Here we go, folks. Here's the important stuff. Okay, we now enter the really important.
It's literally stuff. like 3 minutes of total screen time.
Right. So okay. So the place is going to blow. They're getting everybody out of there. So Orion's going after Darkseid. Superman hangs back to go after Darkseid as Batman's evacuating everybody. Superman stays behind, much to Batman's dismay. Like, where's Superman?
But,
no, he must still be behind there. Like, oh, that idiot! I'll be right back. Go.
And I love how Superman's just standing there, like you said. He's just like he's giving him like the most evil fucking death glare. It's great.
So, by the way, here's something I got to note right before we get into all the glorious Superman Darkseid of it all. Okay, so Orion, during this Orion fight, it's unofficial because they had to pull it back a little bit because it was really dark. Originally, he just full on broke Orion's back, which he kind of still does here. And the way this scene originally broke down, but then they pulled it back and made it better. He broke Orion's back. Superman saw this and he said, "Murder!" And then he flew into attacking Darkseid. But it's the fact that Superman hates this guy already. He's been building to this track the whole episode.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It plays so much better. Like, hey, I like Orion, but I hate you more.
I mean, and also, like, the betrayal on top of all that, you know?
Like, I went out of my way to help you.
Right, yeah.
And the fact that Superman had to be Darkseid's flunky again.
And then he literally got tortured over it.
Yep, and again by both Brainiac and Darkseid.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he was unintentionally yet again manipulated and forced to do Darkseid's bidding is what sticks in his craw most.
Totally.
So, by the way, George Newbern. Remember, this is a different Superman than what you saw in those episodes. So, George Newbern, they had to catch him up on all of this, by the way, for this scene.
Oh my God! It's not the guy.
No, Tim Daly was the one from the episode.
It's not Daly? Oh.
No, we've been over this, Tiki. Justice League has a new Superman, yes.
That makes me sad that it's not Daly.
It's not, but still, though, it's pretty impressive, though. It's the fact that
Well, it's impressive because I didn't even notice that it wasn't him.
And again, I think because it's so seamlessly, Justice League is the older, wizened Superman, so he's the grown-up Superman who's now grown to fester a little hatred for Darkseid after.
Right.
It's so impressive. What they did to you is they sat George Newbern down, gave him like a 20-minute catch-up. Okay, here's everything that happened in season 3 of Superman. And they call him, okay, this is why Superman hates Darkseid. I got it. Let's go. Let's do it. So then again, Tiki, in the grand scope of the DCAU, this is round 2. Remember how awesome round 1 was with that Paul Dini line of I am many things, Kal-El, but here I am God.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, I still salivate over that Dini line. Good God. Anyway, so we have the fight here. Batman, again, just... the whole place is going to explode. Brainiac's going to explode, and you're going with him. And he lasers the boom.
I love that Darkseid's literally just slapping Superman.
Yes. He just, it's a brutal fight for sure. And his love just like
looks like you're right where you belong, Superman, under my heel.
Yeah, the trash talk is really good in the episode, man. Where we have just the bits of like, you're not leaving here. Like, what makes you think this time's going to be any different from when I've humiliated you before? Because this time I'm not stopping till you're a greasy smear on the end of my fist.
Oh man,
most intimidating Superman line ever. Dear God.
Right.
So okay, let's see. So anyways, back to the fight. We have like some really great kind of one-liners like that, like you under my heel, and Superman gives him the ultimate hot foot by lasering through his foot.
That's a great move.
Dear God. So then we have like some slow-mo punches.
Superman is like walking towards him like straight up Terminator style.
So that's what I'm saying. When he does they do like the big slow-mo punch where Superman just like all he has, he just punches him like to the under end of this hallway. And basically Darkseid is now at his mercy. Like he's under all the gravel and everything. And then we have the money shot. Oh God. Batman emerges. He bears witness to this, and he runs up to him, and basically he's trying to get Superman out of there because the base is going to destroy. And Batman has to save his friend here. He gets why he's staying behind there. He's gone toe to toe with the Joker and so many other, and the Ra's al Ghul's and everything. He has to no, you can't throw it all away. So Batman he grabs him like, Kent, don't be a fool. Again, his bedside manner could be a lot better.
Totally. But that's Batman for you,
And again, it's a dire situation for sure.
Yeah.
It's like he's mad at Superman for his having this being this stubborn. Because again, the irony being Batman seeing what people deal with him on the regular basis, where he's staying behind to finish the job. But also, the big reason we're talking about this episode, Tiki, is the fact that Batman saves Superman from making a mistake he can't come back from. Superman's going to kill Darkseid here, unequivocally. He is going to kill Darkseid, but Superman has never killed anyone in the DCAU. So this, again, and Batman's just saving him from the mistake he always walks the line with anyway. So he just grabs the hand, and then Superman backhands Batman, which he's never done before. Just showing you how serious Superman is about this. Like, bam, hits Batman in the shoulder, and you feel that shoulder hit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, get out of here. No! Superman means it. So, dear God, he's flipping. This is how it feels like to be in that world's finest team up, man. When you get thrown around, you get judo flipped. It's not so nice. We have some comments we should probably read.
Yeah. Jeez.
Hey, let's see. Let's try Atomic Beast.
All right, I mean, he's got a bunch, so anything in particular
Let
stand out to you?
Okay. Okay. Well, let's start with like just the beginning one, the second one below it. So it says, I think that what most people don't know is the hidden character arc for Batman and his inability to kill. Yes, which then bleeds into in this episode, his dismissal of Superman's concerns about Darkseid is due to him comparing, Mask of the Phantasm to Superman's legacy dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, kind of the end all be all story being the point there. Yes.
All right, and then he also he makes some points about the Joker, and he says the only time the Joker got personal was Return of the Joker.
Absolutely, for sure.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so getting back to Batman, we have basically our big money shot here. We're okay. So Batman's like he ain't giving up on Superman because deep down he does respect and admire Superman. They're the best of friends deep down. And again, seeing like the lengths Batman's going to go to, or he wants to be left behind, where I'm not going to let him go behind. I'm not going to let him kill someone and ruin everything he's all about. He just jumps on Superman's back. And uses the boom tube to boom him out of there against his will, and Superman's just so unhappy about it, like no.
Yeah, I love this. And Dragon, correct me if I'm wrong. Does this cause a rift in their dynamic?
Well, I mean, it's always there. It's not like in your face in the episodes, but I mean, there's a great callback to it in Unlimited, a wonderful callback. Honestly, Unlimited really hinges on this kind of thing. Unlimited really hinges on this kind of stuff, and
Okay.
Batman kind of dealing with kind of how the world perceives Superman. So there is, I think Unlimited is kind of where they do most of their stuff. Oh, actually, Unlimited and one other episode we'll be covering for this season of Justice League. So yeah, we'll see some more, maybe a little bit more of a payoff a little bit later. So we'll get there. Yeah. So just again, Superman not happy, and then we have like this great line from Darkseid. Darkseid gets the last laugh. Loser. Just the head, the whole head explodes. We save Orion in the boom tube. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that was lucky.
It was an intense moment. They knew he was going to get sucked in the boom tube. And fine. It sucks everything in there. It sucked them in there. It's fine.
Well, they're lucky it didn't take Darkseid with them too.
Yeah, well, they would have had to deal with that, but yeah.
This is as it comes. It's
and
whatever.
I could be reading in this. I like to say with Atomic Beast's Phantasm parallel, the big vibes I get with this scene, what he says more so with Legacy, but also this scene it's very much the whole Batman not leaving. He stays in the park when it's about to blow up, and like Joker's, let me go, we'll both die, whatever it takes. Like Batman's not letting Joker get away. So anyway. So of course, big explosion. Then we have like the big. I like to think, and I could be reading into it because Twilight of the Gods, as well, being the original title, is a homage to Ragnarok, which is so in Ragnarok. Another name for Ragnarok, which of course applies to the Norse gods, is Twilight of the Gods, which essentially is like the end of times. All the gods are dying and everything, which essentially is the point of the new gods, like an homage to the Norse gods, but a more DC centric version of Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Point being, if you don't take that as the namesake in practice is the end shot here is like at the twilight of day. So after all that said, in the aftermath of the explosion, kind of like the twilight of the morning, Batman and Superman have this moment together where Batman tries to comfort Superman with kind of a hope. So I guess you'd put it. Nothing could have survived.
Even though I saved you, and even though you didn't get to kill Darkseid, there's no way he survived, essentially.
It's like, take solace in you didn't kill a man, and he's not coming back. Which, of course, Batman, I love the empty gesture, because Batman, if he really thought about this, he's trying to offer him like an empty plea of like, it's going to be okay, when Batman even knows it's not going to be. And Superman just calling him out, like, don't poison me with that hope that's never going to happen.
You know what, Bruce? Sometimes you're not always right.
Yes, son, Bruce, you're not always right.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Kind of it's almost a line in the sand.
It is absolutely. We're like he's gonna come back the same way. Not in so many words. The same way the Joker always comes back. Darkseid is gonna come back.
Mm.
Okay, because he's my worst impulse. He's gonna come back. And the fact that these two guys in their friendship, they got a glimpse at the other's perspective. That's the big important thing of this episode. They got to see what it's like being in the other's shoes in this situation, which I thought it gave Batman perspective on how he's seen by other people and vice versa. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in the aftermath, Forager saved the Forever people, when they like descended upon the ground versus being in the Sky City. Everyone's safe. We have a bunch of Easter eggs, like, oh look, who it's Mr. Miracle, it's Big Bear,
Right, right.
it's a Viking the Black. So anyway, let's see. Then we the end bit here is Five Father saying, "Forgive me, I forgot that everyone has a place." Basically saying, "Oh man, Forager's good people, man. We like
Yeah,
Forager.
yeah.
We welcome him." And then Hawkgirl has Martian Manhunter has the Hawkgirl, like, maybe you'll find your people someday too. Like, yeah, maybe someday. Of course, basically saying, "Star-crossed."
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's the end of the episode.
That guy says Darkseid is really a trash-talking gamer at heart.
By the way, fun fact: I meant to get into the opening with the context. Did you know Darkseid in the comics was not a Superman villain?
No, I did not know that.
That's the thing. The animated series, there every time people think of Darkseid as the big Superman villain, he's more of a Justice League and a New Gods villain. He's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
That was something the
Makes
animated
sense.
series. That's all. It's all them.
All right. So final thoughts, Dragon. I'm really I'm really impressed with this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing the dynamic going forward. I think that the Batman stuff, as limited as it was in this episode, was very pivotal, and I'm glad we covered it.
Yeah. Final thoughts for me again. This is a bombastic way to start season 2. It always has been. It's everything Snyder wanted to do in live action. Where again, he only gave us glimpses of Darkseid. This is like a full meal of Darkseid. This essentially, Tiki, before Darkseid makes one last reappearance, this was intended to be the end of Darkseid. He was supposed to actually be dead in that explosion.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not. But yeah, it's which adds even more credence to that whole "you're not always right, Bruce." That thing where, oh man, it really wasn't right at the end of the day on that one. This episode, it just, again, I really do love the main reason other than just the cool factor of how Superman got to toughen up and fight Darkseid, and that big Batman saving Superman moment, which of course, I love that, was just the fact you get to see Batman and Superman's friendship really kind of come into its own, and kind of like a firm line being drawn, and just seeing like them kind of get a glimpse at what they've been dealing with the other people for the other times they've been in episodes together. So yeah, that's really what this was about. So it was just kind of nice to kind of like see, kind of Batman's arc in his Superman friendship this episode. So I've always liked it for that reason. That was such a money shot scene of just like him saving with that boom tube. Man, it's amazing. All right.
All right, take us out.
The long lost Batman Sandman crossover, a hero horror show, a pop song and caffeine-reliant rescue? Can the Martian Manhunter and the Batman save their friends from their own demons? Or is this Dr. Destiny's time to shine after all? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Only a Dream.
His name was Forager.